All right, hello everyone. It's finals week and I'm sick. That's how my life is going. Let's jump right into this. This is examples of aggression in my favorite sitcoms. Let's get started. All right, the types of aggression we're going to be talking about: direct, indirect, displaced, hostile, instrumental, physical, violence, verbal, relational, proactive, and reactive. And many of these types of aggression have contributing factors. And we're going to talk about personality, biology, evolution, social learning theory, social and situational, culture, and gender. And we're going to be using my top 3 favorite sitcoms, which is New Girl, Parks and Rec, and The Office. So the first one we won't be able to watch the videos because that's going to take too long, but I did link them and the scenes are really funny, so you should watch them. So the first one, direct aggression done in the presence of the victim. And my example that we use is when Leslie and Ron are in season 7. They're pretty much at war with each other the entire time, and they start fighting over Morningstar, which was in Ron bulldozed Anne's house, who's Leslie's best friend, without even telling Leslie. This creates extreme frustration with Leslie, and she tries to take it out against Ron all the time, and then Ron gets upset with her, and then there's this whole war going on. Now, indirect aggression is aggression done outside of the victim's presence. The most common example is vandalism, and so I used the screenshot. I used when Greg Pekaitis vandalized the Parks and Rec office to mess with Leslie, to prank her. Some possible contributing factors. Greg Pekaitis is known to be a troublemaker. He's a rebel teen. That's what his mother says. So that's kind of his personality. And he also has stated that he likes to mess with Leslie because of how worked up she gets, as you can see by the photo, which is a social contributing factor. Next up, we have displaced aggression, which is behaving aggressively towards something else when the cause of aggression is unavailable. Probably one of my favorite pranks in The Office, when Jim hides Andy's phone in the ceiling, and Andy gets so mad that he can't find his phone, he punches the wall. He had to go to anger management issues after that, and he was always known to have anger issues since his first appearance. So I believe that Andy's outburst from just little pranks shows that he has a low baseline arousal and poor self-control. Next up, we have hostile aggression. Caused by feelings of anger, involves desire to inflict pain and injury. This is when Roy attacks Jim after finding out that Jim kissed Pam, who's Roy's ex-fiance, and pretty much broke up the wedding. So obviously this is social and situational because he is seeking revenge and doing it out of frustration. And he does have a brother, and we did see that they both have these very similar outbursts, and they act very aggressively, which I believe that means that it is inherited. Now, although Roy did not follow through on the attack on Jim, it was intentional. He did attempt to hurt him. Next up, we have instrumental aggression. This is aggression with a purpose besides causing pain. It has a premeditated reason. So April threatens Ellis. Ellis is one of Ben's employees who is disrespecting Ben. And since April, kind of cares about the one she loves, though she might not show it too much, she decides to threaten Ellis. And that is her reason for being aggressive towards him. Now, it is also a personality that she's very cold and dark and has a antisocial behavior. Next up, we have physical aggression, which is causing physical harm, but it doesn't necessarily rely on you being angry. Although it's more common in boys, our example is when Jess tackles Nick in a game of football and really hurts him. Now, although it was on accident, it is encouraged and acceptable to be aggressive in football, which is the social learning theory contributing factor. And since Jess is the only girl in Law 4D, she often feels that she must act more aggressively to prove that she's one of the boys. For violence, obviously we're not going to see extreme violent scenes in sitcoms, but the most violent one I could find was probably one of my favorite scenes, and that's the bachelor party fight. The boys in the bachelor party, Schmidt was fighting because he didn't think he was, manly enough to protect his future wife, Cece, and so his masculinity was threatened, and so he thought he had to prove himself by fighting a bunch of strangers. And the other group were fighting because they, as a culture, are more antisocial towards outsiders, and they were defending their land against these high-class Southern Californians who were just coming on through Nevada. Next up, we have verbal aggression. It is the form of insults and rudeness. And this is when Stanley yells at Ryan because he believes Ryan is flirting with Stanley's 14-year-old daughter. So that is a example of social and situational contributing factor. And also it's not culturally, socially, or legally acceptable for an adult to be, intimate with a minor. And as a father, Stanley is protecting his daughter, which you could also argue could be an evolutionary cultural factor. But I think it's more cultural. Anyway. Relational aggression, causing damage to one's relationships or social status, which is more common in girls. Our example is when Schmidt tries to comfort Nick and Jess because he believes Nick and Jess are to blame for breaking up his relationship with Cece and the other girl. Even though he was cheating on them, he still thinks it was their fault. So he's seeking revenge, which is social and situational. Proactive aggression is aggressive behavior that's premeditated and planned, usually goal and revenge driven. This is when Angela hires a hitman after finding out that her husband, the senator, is having an affair with her coworker, Oscar. So this is social and situational because obviously she's seeking revenge. It's evolutionary because Angela is jealous that her mate is being poached from her. And it could also be cultural because Angela is a very strict Christian. And having an affair is a heavy sin, and to some Christians and kind of to Angela, homosexuality is a serious sin, even though it's not. Anyway, reactive aggression is aggressive reactions in response to being provoked, and it's not planned. This is when Ron punches Jeremy Jam after Jeremy Jam freaking messes up Leslie and Ben's wedding. He provokes him. He kind of Jam kind of pushes him, so Ron just punches him straight up. It's Ron's personality. He's a kind of threatening, strong man, and he's also protective. That's how he was born. His brothers were very much also like that, which is why I think it's also inherited and a part of his biology. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. I wish I could show the videos, but it would have taken too long. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Oh, my name is Nikki Colvin.